On today's episode of WatchJRGo, we are here in the warehouse to recap 2021 and talk about all the cars we finished. What is going on, guys? I'm WatchJRGo, and today, like I said, we're here in the warehouse to talk about it. If you guys remember, I bought this in late November last year. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, or it seems like it's been forever, I don't know. But it was late November last year when we closed on this place, and it was trashed. This place, it looked so different. I'll post some pictures right now. Obviously, we didn't have any of these lights. We didn't have any heat like we do right now. I know you guys can hear it behind me. I usually try to make sure the heaters are off before we start shooting, but it's so cold today that I couldn't do it. I couldn't shut them back off. It was down to like 41, and the heat's set to keep the building at 50, but still 41. Incredibly cold, and now we've got it up to about 53, which is enough for me to take my hood off and talk. At the same time, I can't hear myself talk today. I am extremely sick. All day yesterday, I got like really bad, and I couldn't leave the house at all. Today, I managed to leave the house and get down here so we could make a video, and as soon as I'm done with this, I'm heading home, editing this, and going right back to bed. So the biggest automotive shop on YouTube. This place was absolutely wild when I bought it. You know, my plan was to build the fantasy factory for cars, and I think we did that. I mean, we did the floors, we put the lifts in, we put the lights in, we got heat. We've got the biggest TV on YouTube for sure, 20-foot diagonal on the video wall there. Super pumped about the Hooters Racing video wall. Of course, we built the system. That was early this year, or early 2021. We hung up the truss. We got all the line array up there, all of my moving lights, fun stuff that I wanted to have in here. And it's kind of been the realization of a dream. Now, it's not the biggest shop anymore. Obviously, AdamLZ's compound is absolutely wild. And for all the haters that always said like Jay Leno and Hoonigan are bigger, those are media companies. They're not YouTubers. So there is definitely no debating what this was at the time. So we did a crazy amount of work on this building from the time we bought it until now. Of course, this concrete I'm standing on, that didn't used to exist. All that was holes in the floor, studs everywhere. All of that was cut out. New concrete was poured. That all had to be done way before we could get the floors painted and epoxied, all that good stuff. So we poured a bunch of concrete, got a ton of work done. We started replacing all the walls. We put a new roof on this place. That roof by itself was like $70,000 and change, and it has made it way better. Way better. There's no more leaks inside, and the building is much more efficient. I don't think the building would stay at 41 if we didn't have the new roof on it. Obviously, the roof is one of the most important parts of the building. So we replaced every walk door in the building, and those are all new, super nice. Got tons and tons of the wiring done. There's still more that could be done in here. Of course, we took out this entire wall and replaced it with brand new tin. The corrugated metal that you use on a building with new everything. The bottom was all sealed up, and the garage door that was there, I didn't want that, so we got rid of that. We installed the incredible lighting control system with Mass Project, and it's so great to have the lighting control, being able to dim these lights to whatever we want, and you can control it from a Windows server wherever you're at. That garage door is new. The detail bay is pretty clean and really progressing towards the goal of having one of the greatest detail bays on the internet. Now, for some reason, the plumbers got everything inside done, and then we're waiting on the horizontal boring guys to connect the sewer to the street. They just never done it. So we haven't been able to make any progress on the sewer since like 2 months ago. They said I'm in line, and that was all we could get out of them. That said, you guys know the plan. Cars get washed over there. Closet over here for all the equipment, high pressure washers, laundry room, all that fun stuff, bathrooms over there, kitchen over there, and of course the gigantic balcony for us to hang out, which is just going to be like couches, and then the arcade over there, and then a speakeasy bookshelf kind of back there with a hidden room, so I have a place to take a nap. Down here after the kitchen, all glass conference room, and then this will stay open. And of course, if you're on the balcony, you can walk all the way out into the shop to hang out and just kind of see what's going on, or join in on, you know, whatever you want. Lean over the railing, talk about cars, hang out, quote Han from Tokyo Drift, whatever it is we do in here. So there you have it. That is basically the building update all the way to today. We did go to Harbor Freight at some point this year and spend $8,000 something on that toolbox, which was insane. And there should be more coming, but the problem is it won't really fit until we get all the electrical moved and stuff like that. So that's why it's just kind of sitting there as is. Not to mention it's not really full. I don't really have much of a reason to keep adding onto the toolbox yet. And we've got some stuff in there. All my specialty tools hang out in here, which is what the goal was in the first place. Of course, I had always planned, and you guys had always said, I needed a drawer just for golden ratchets, and there is exactly that. It's also the reason we never use the golden ratchets, because sometimes I forget what drawer they're in, and I don't want to come over here and get them. All right, let's talk about the cars. If you guys remember, I bought a BMW X5 to sell to a subscriber for $1 late in 2020. And of course, we did that just after the first of the year. We gave away that BMW X5. I'll post a picture of that right now. I had to make a huge list of cars and my favorites to try to remember what all we did this year. There's so many cars that it's hard to keep track. Right after that, we bought that Lincoln Town Car for $600, the stimulus check car. And of course, we cleaned that up. I don't even remember what all we did, but we got it working well and sold it, and it made pretty good money. Of course, right after that, we started putting in the lifts. We've got the bin pack lifts there, as Eric and I figured out how to install 2-post lifts and installed all 4 of the lifts ourselves. We'd never done anything like that before, and that is an undertaking. Let me tell you, the first one is like, give yourself like 24 hours, a full long day of hard work to figure out the first one. And then after that, you start doing them in like 3 hours each, maybe. I mean, we got to where we were doing them super fast after we got the first one done. Then my Viper truck was here. Of course, I had bought that before the shop, and we ended up selling it after doing quite a bit of work to it, and the new owner loves it. I still see it rolling around town, and I did make a little bit of money on that truck. It looks like February 6th was the day Legit Street Cars bought Hoovie's SL600, and everybody was here in the shop with Elliot's Maserati. We pretty much had the entire YouTube crew over here. Alex, Max, Alex's new employee, Tyler, Elliot, Jake. We were all here hanging out, doing car things, and that was a lot of fun. It was just like today, snowing outside, freezing cold, and we had to wash Alex's car, and our hands were gone. We were freezing to death just from being outside for like the 20 minutes that we were. That wasn't exactly fun. At least now we can wash inside and then squeegee everything out. The next picture I found on my phone is my Chevy Volt. It came over here right about then, and I sold it shortly after that. It was a Generation 1 Volt. I loved that thing. I drove it all over the country, but it was at like 95,000 miles, and I figured that was the right time to get rid of it. The new owner is a subscriber, and he does keep me updated on it, and it seems like he's still got it, and it's still going strong with 0 problems. Chevy Volts, such good cars. After that, we bought my Nissan Xterra. That was cheap, 750 bucks if I remember right. It needed a transmission. We put a transmission in it. The old one's still sitting over there, and we got that thing back on the road, and the new owners are friends. They're still out driving it too, and they've got it lifted. It's on new tires. The Xterra, going strong. Right after that, keeping the mom SUV trend going, I bought my GMC Envoy XUV, and I can't remember what I paid for that. I think it was a lot, $2,500 plus, something like that. Nothing worked. All the computers and the tailgate and the top were angry because motors were out of whack, and you know, everything was wrong. So we ended up replacing the entire sliding top motor assembly and just doing a whole bunch of other work to get that thing going. Right after that, I bought my $5,000 C5 Vet, the convertible, the green one. It's in the next building now, and we did so much work to that car. It's a great driver at this point. There's only one thing I still want to do, well, two. One thing is the new top that's sitting over there. It's been over there for months, and I kind of want to put it on myself, but I also want to send it out to an upholstery shop. We also need to fix the clear, but other than that, that thing is an excellent driver, and there's just little tiny odds and ends left. It could be sold at any time because it's a great car. I drove it a bunch and I loved it. Then we went and bought my Pontiac Aztek for $1,000. I probably overpaid for that. It was the old owner's fishing rig. We just saw it over there in the detail bay. It's back in the corner. We brought it home and uncovered the fact that it was a way worse car than I thought it was when we bought it. It seemed like it was pretty clean and just covered in dirt. No, it was not just covered in dirt. It had so much damage and so many problems, and it took days and days and days. I probably have 10 days of work in the Aztek getting it all straightened out to make it right again. Now it's all ready to go camping, And right when I got it done for real, it got cold outside, so we can't exactly go camping now. We will soon. Right after we got the Aztek here and got it cleaned up, Brian and I went to TX2K. We took the Huracan and the 911 Turbo S. I didn't ever really talk about that, didn't make a video of 2K this year, but it was great fun. We had a good time. I can't say enough fun things about the Porsche 911 Turbo S. It's probably one of my favorite cars in the world. Was before the trip, will always continue to be. Right after that, we bought my fire truck, Arcadia, Kansas's old 77 Mack CF 600, a gold Mack fire truck, so Mack everything. Super cool, but the one thing that I learned from the fire truck is that you can't work on it, especially in like a light duty and car shop like this. It's not possible. You have to be a heavy duty mechanic. All of the tools need to be different. None of my lifts can lift that thing up. The engine's in the center, the rear main was leaking, the transmission was leaking, and it was just way too much. Now, of course, the fix for those trucks when they're old and leaking is just keep putting fluid in them. But it was making a mess on the floor. I couldn't have any oil on the floor. We sold the truck. It went to a local body shop that wanted to use it in parades and stuff. It was a lot of fun while I had it, and we got to fix a few things. That was it. I got to experience owning a nice working fire truck, and it was a lot of fun. Right after I bought the fire truck, Gabe and I decided to do the big turbo on his Saturn Sky Redline. Shortly after that, that big turbo blew up. I think Gabe was having way too much fun with it. We need to pull the turbo back off and send it in, and the company said they'd happily rebuild it and send it back to us. And it could be worse than that. It could be engine failure, but of course Gabe broke his foot and we haven't seen him since. I do know he'll be back on his feet soon, so we'll get back on it then. I sold my Porsche 944 shortly after that, the one I bought for $500. Ended up spending like $4,000 bringing it back to life, and I think I sold it for $5, so hey, there was a few dollars of profit in there, and it was a cool car. Right after I sold the Porsche, I headed to Arizona and bought my 1990 Skyline GTR, the R32. It was a beautiful car, and I loved it for the first little while I owned it. But unfortunately, it made big power, it was very modded, and it wasn't fun driving that clutch around anymore, the super heavy duty clutch. It wasn't nearly as bad as the AdamLZ to drive, but it was still a big pain, and it always needed something. It could never just be a car like I wanted, so it wasn't exactly enjoyable since it just needed worked on all the time, so I ended up selling that eventually. After that, I bought my stolen KTM Duke 690 from Auto Auction Rebuilds. He made me a steal of a deal. He sold it to me for less than he paid for it. And of course, we rebuilt that thing in short order, only like 2 episodes or something like that, and traded that for a Lexus. So we'll get back to the Lexus shortly. Right after I got the Duke is when I picked up my Ariel Atom. It made 4 passes on the half mile, and of course killed a cylinder, killed a piston, and that was the end of my day. Unfortunately, it's just something that happens in racing, especially half miles when you're beating on an engine crazy hard for that long. And then right after that, I bought my Nissan Cube for $1,000 that needed a transmission. We put a transmission in that. We sold that, and I think I made a little bit of money, even though we did tons of work to the Cube. Window regulator, tons of interior parts, that rear door latch, tons of work on the Cube. And right after that, I bought my Can-Am Maverick X3 RR, RS, you know, the fully turned up Maverick that's sitting right over there, because we went to Moab with Can-Am and just had one of the greatest times of our life. And you know, we've shot some videos for the off-road channel. One day I need to sit down and edit those. Picked up my Mercury Capri XR2 Turbo, and then I bought that epic, I think 2010 Silverado for $2,500 that needed I forgot what it needed. It needed a bunch of work. We did a ton of work to it. In like 2 days, we completely turned around that truck. Obviously, it's one of my favorite things to work on, powered by the 5.3, one of the most bulletproof engines out there. So that was a lot of fun, and we sold that, and we made some good money. I think I put a transmission in it. I don't know. I don't remember. I know we did wheel bearings and evap and just everything else on the truck. I don't remember if we did anything like major on that truck. After that, we swapped the engine in my 2011 Audi A6 that I bought the day I closed on the warehouse. And we put that back on the road and sold it, and the old engine's sitting over there, and I just know it's, well, it's been back many times because a friend of mine bought it, and he's been daily driving it forever. So I think that's been a great car for him and a great project for us. It looks like we definitely passed up one of my favorite buys this year, my forklift. And about the time the floors got coated, we bought the floor cleaner as well, and the floor before the floors got done. But the floor cleaner has been invaluable. One of the greatest things we've ever bought. We've probably put like 20-30 minutes on that every single day, keeping this place pristine, and it does everything. It's incredible. If there's oil on the floor, like coatings of it, we just spray the oil with degreaser, drive over with the floor cleaner, and the oil's gone. It's so nice. Gotta love that. Gotta love the forklift. Things that are absolutely invaluable for a shop of this size. Right after that, there's a picture at my house of the GTR. That was not when I bought it, but I figured this was the one to save because that's the one I bought. About 2 months later, it went up for sale, and I was like, I'll take it. Definitely one of my favorite cars of all time. The R35 GTR is incredible. I love it. We've driven it all over. We took it on one of our group trips with Hoovy and Jake and everybody a few months ago, and boy, that car is so rewarding, so much power. It's not, I usually take like a Miata on those trips because they're all about driving, and it's nice to be really, really fast in a Miata, but it's incredible to do it with an actually fast car that you can put on the limit. I mean, what a car. So R35, definitely one of my favorites if there was ever any question. Right after that, we bought my Audi S4 from Ed Bullion, and we went up to shoot some VinWiki videos, have some fun, hang out with the crew there, hang out with Mike, and we took this on a drive with Jake's Maxima. I'll post all those pictures right now. We had a ton of fun ripping through Blood Mountain up in Georgia, and just what a great trip. Again, a pure driving trip, putting these cars on the limit. And then we have the Lexus that we traded that KTM Duke for. So I rode the Duke a couple times, and then we traded it straight across for that Lexus ES350, which was an incredible deal. And then we sold the Lexus ES350, and along with that, got a free Volvo XC90. Right after that, we bought my Harley for $5,000, and that's been at Eric's house ever since. But we took the bikes, of course, and went on our family road trip all the way up to Springfield, Illinois, and back in the rain the whole time. Obviously, we did shoot some videos of that, and it was a ridiculous trip, one of the wettest motorcycle trips of all time. Oh, we just soaked to the core the whole time. We couldn't wait to get to the hotel room and finally dry off. And that ended up being the best part of the trip, was getting dry, because every single day it rained and rained and rained. After that, I bought my C5 Z06. And this has been a wonderful car, one that I love to death. ProCharger's development car, of course. Supercharged, 600 horsepower, cover of Vet magazine, Holly's booth, ProCharger's booth at the Super Chevy show. It's done Power Tour. This car has so much history. After that, we bought my Mercedes S-Class. I think it was an S4? I forgot what it was, but we bought that, brought it home, and it was salvage titled and so totaled that there was really no way to put it back together. I ended up cutting my losses, and I broke even selling it. That was a cool car though. It was to test the theory that the S-Class is the best car you can buy at any given time, and one day we'll buy another S-Class and see if that still holds true. Even that old beat up one was still a great driver, so I'd venture that it is. After that, we spent $750 on my gigantic 6-door Toyota monster truck, and that was a great truck, and we got it running. You know what, we put a fuel system in it, basically cleaned out the tank. I forgot what all we did, both batteries, cleaned up a ton of stuff. I found out one of the batteries wasn't even connected. I got all that put back together, and after I drove it around, the starter quit working the next time I wanted to go drive it. So we ended up selling it because it needed a high torque starter that cost nearly as much as the truck. So that's cut your losses right there. So I did, and we made a little bit of money on it. And then we got the free S10 that I'm building into a race car with Eric whenever Eric comes back from being a dad to a newborn. So people are always asking about the S10. The update is whenever, I assume when the baby's like 6 months or something like that, you're allowed to leave the house. I don't have any kids. So you guys tell me when he's allowed to leave the house. Whenever he comes back, we'll start putting that engine in and doing that complete restoration on the S10 Extreme. Then we bought my Jeep for $1,800, that perfect Grand Cherokee, and that needed an engine, so we put an engine in it and got it back on the road. It was a real quick in and out with Tyler Potter, and it's really starts right up. Oh, and it took days and days to get working because, of course, the immobilizer kept fighting me. It's been a little while. I almost forgot how much of a pain that was. About the time I finished the Jeep, we sold my twin turbo gated manual R8 after we finally got it tuned with Mirza from Boosted Euro. That all ended up working out pretty well, and that car got sold, and it went to Washington, and that dealer sold it, and then the guy who bought it just sold it again and everybody made tons of money but me. Then we picked up my Cadillac Alante for $200 that I ended up selling to the next guy for $200, basically just scrap value. He was gonna drive it, or I don't know what he was gonna do with it. It was pretty much falling apart and there was no saving the Alante. So that went on its way shortly after that. Then we bought my Mitsubishi Diamante for $400 and $402.01, and we put a window in that, cleaned it all up, and sold it to Auto Auction Rebuilds shortly after. Monkey Rich Mike was here, and we all got to hang out and get him a car. After that, we got my Saturn SC2 that needs a clutch, which we'll do as soon as I'm feeling better again and ready to do some work. And then my dump truck that I bought for $2,000, my 7.3 Power Stroke 1995 Super Duty, and with the dump bed on it, it's really cool. I can't wait to do some more work on that truck. It does have a second gear grind. I think that's pretty common. We'll see. We might drop that transmission and do a rebuild, but it's just a synchro. It's not actually a failure with the transmission gear or anything like that. So I think that's all the cars. And then of course, the Turo Fleet is over here. I didn't favorite any of these, but we bought the Fiat, we bought the Cayenne, we bought the Dart, we bought the Durango. This is actually a lot of fun. It's okay, it really gets in my way, but it's also a lot of fun having cars that actually do something. It's just expected of YouTubers to own a lot of cars, which is something that I've kind of grown to hate, having like 25 cars. It's absolutely horrible. These just weigh on me and take money. So this has been a lot of fun. I think we're gonna sell the Durango and buy more cheap cars because the cheap cars seem to go out all the time. So anyway, there you have it. Something like 31 cars this year. It's just been a crazy ride, and we sure do knock out the projects. So that is it for today, guys. A huge thank you to you guys for watching. None of this would be possible without you. I'm super happy you're here to support the Automotive Fantasy Factory and work on cars with me here in the garage and just have some fun. So that is it for today, guys. Don't forget to head on over to shop.WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. All right, time to go back to bed. I'm fading.